Hi guys, and welcome to the Stephen King Sematary Club. Part 2 of Needful Things is a great improvement over the first part. A lot more happens. There's a whole section that I would eliminate, or at the very least, edit way down. I understand it's the big climax of the story, but I really do not like the Catholic Baptist West Side Story fight. They each have their stink bombs and they are all attacking each other and blaming each other for everything. It's so overly dramatic and laughable. And the amount of vomit is just too much. Too much. I don't need to hear about it. I don't want to see it on TV, on movie. Like, I hate when movies and TV shows show people vomiting. And I especially hate that they've gone to the kind of vomit out of nowhere or the quick cut from another scene into a new scene where the person is vomiting. Like, then you don't have any signs to tell you to look away. I can't. With part 2, it starts off strong. We get the reintroduction of Ace Merrill. He was in The Body, so he was one of the bullies. And he has come back to town. His uncle was Pop Merrill. Reginald Pop Merrill. Mr. Gaunt has a help wanted sign in his window, and Ace comes in, buys a book that was written by Pop, which is really fake. It's really Treasure Island that he's buying. He sees it as a guide to New England buried treasure, so he buys it. And he also agrees to work for Mr. Gaunt. Gaunt sends him to a really decrepit neighborhood, and he goes into a magical garage where the garage door just opens when he honks his horn. There's no one inside of it. It's full of like crates of weapons, and he's supposed to bring these things back to Castle Rock. And his instructions are given to him via a tape, playing on a tape recorder. But then Ace looks and the tape recorder is not plugged into anything. The plug is just hanging and nothing is attached. There's no outlet. So there's no power source. And that, I do really like that scene. Some of the chaos is interesting. So we have the Hugh, Hank, Norris, Lester. These people, they're all enmeshed in a big thing where everyone's trying to kill each other and run each other down, stealing each other's cars, knocking old men into the road and leaving them for dead. And I do like the way King has woven these people together and their stories and made things exciting in that way. I tend to see them at this point as fodder, so I don't care about any of them, so it's kind of fine that they all die, pretty much. Brian Rusk, who's the young kid, I think he's 12, the one who wanted the baseball card, he kills himself in front of his brother because of the torment that he is facing. And we find out that his brother has seen the Sandy Koufax baseball card, and it is not, in fact, a Sandy Koufax baseball card, which we knew it wouldn't be. But Gaunt is able to make you, he puts a glamour over things. So you see something more fantastical with your imagination, and to any other person, it doesn't have that appearance. Which is why Gaunt is able to just sell people junk in exchange for these pranks. Polly has a big fight with Alan, and she goes out to the Cambers place, which is the setting for Cujo, and while she's there playing her prank on Ace Merrill, she sees a dog in the shadowy barn. So she sees red eyes and hears a growling, and I'm sure it's a nod to Cujo. The politician, Danforth, he kills his wife with a hammer, and he actually joins up with Ace Merrill, which for some reason gives me great joy to see them together. They're very amusing. They're just cruising around Castle Rock, getting high on cocaine, and planting sticks of dynamite around town. So they're like coked up, deranged Johnny Appleseeds. One of the things that Gaunt has set into motion is Polly planted a letter for Ace to find, and it's one of Pop Merrill's buried treasure spots. So when Ace digs it up, he's going to see a letter from Alan stating that he stole the money that was inside this buried treasure tin. Ace will think that Alan took money from him, and then Gaunt leaves Alan a present in Needful Things. So Alan goes to the shop finally to talk to Gaunt. Gaunt isn't there. When Alan gets to Needful Things and he finds the letter written for him, it very much reminds me of the letter that Straker has left along with Susan for the vampire hunters in Salem's Lot. There is a tape that shows the death of Alan's wife and son, and he plays it even though he knows he should not. This is another instance where the equipment is not hooked up to a power source, and Alan puts it in and he's watching it. He tells himself that he should stop watching it. He shouldn't be watching this. It's a lie. He keeps going because he has to know. And what appears to have happened is Ace Merrill barrels down the road behind Annie and runs her off the road, killing her and Todd. Which Alan is seeing red. He now wants to kill Ace. Ace wants to kill him. It's, a thing. And then it's not until later that Alan realizes that there was something incorrect in the tape. When Annie had died, they mentioned that she didn't have a seatbelt on. But in the video, she's wearing her seatbelt. So that little discrepancy drives it home to Alan that he was wrong. And same with Polly. Her fight with Alan was over the fact that Alan had allegedly abused his power and checked up on her and her child when she was living out in San Francisco. It was a big scandal in town. She left. She got pregnant. She left. She had the baby. She came back without the baby. Really, the kid died, and she hadn't told Alan that until later on in the relationship, because she felt guilty about it. The kid died in a house fire. So she receives a letter, and it's addressed to her full name, but she realizes that she never used her full name in San Francisco. So just these little things Gaunt is getting wrong. Finally, people are realizing that, they're being played. So everyone's shooting each other. The Catholics and Baptists are brawling in the street, and everything is blowing up with these sticks of dynamite. Norris finally snaps out of it. He is seconds from hanging himself, and he realizes last minute that the fishing rod that he bought, this fancy fishing rod, is really just a stick. A cheap stick. Gaunt loses his hold over Norris. When Norris escapes from his situation, he decides he has to go kill Gaunt because he feels bad at things that he has set into motion, and he's going to go set things right. I really appreciate that Norris gets a chance to redeem himself. Polly breaks open her talisman, and a spider crawls out. It's really gross and terrifying. So she breaks it, the spider runs out, runs to her bathroom, she chases it, and it's growing at a crazy rate. It started out where it was able to fit inside of a necklace, and all of a sudden it's the size of a house cat in her bathtub, and she's fighting it with a toilet plunger, and it's attacking her and biting at her, and her arm is starting to burn where it has bitten her. So everything is still chaos and destruction. Norris redeems himself. He kills Ace Merrill. Alan manages to defeat Gaunt. He tricks him with a snake in the can, turns into a real snake. When that distracts Gaunt, Alan moves on to making his shadow puppets, and he makes one as a St. Bernard, and he makes some birds, and references the Dark Half, which, he was a part of. Quote, "The sparrows are flying again, Mr. Gaunt," he thought. Page 723. And then finally, he pulls out the paper flower bouquet that he's been using throughout the story. The flowers cast this bright light, and it defeats Gaunt. He retreats without his bag of souls that he's taken from the residents, and he flees. It's kind of cool, because at the end he morphs into this dwarf who's riding an old medicine wagon pulled by a horse, a black horse, an evil horse, and he vanishes, and there's a happy ending for Alan and Polly and Norris. And at the very, very end, we get this idea that Gaunt has set up a new shop, in a new town in Iowa and with a different name, and it will just continue until someone actually kills him, which I don't know if they can do. So I don't know. I don't think that this book is poorly written or anything like that. It just has never struck a chord with me, and I think I've had my last reading of this book. Have a spooky day.